Welcome to Hot News, your most authoritative evening political show in the country. We're coming to you from our studios in Abelinque 48 Swanika Street here in Accra. We are live on Facebook at Pan-African Television. We are also live on YouTube at Pan-African Television. You can join in the conversation by sending your views, comments, and contributions on our WhatsApp stroke text line on 0544235984 0544235984. Let me bring to your notice that the previous WhatsApp line has been changed. Now we are using 0544235984 0544235984. You can send in your messages and all of that over there. We'll make a time and read all those out for you. You can as well leave your suggestions, questions, contributions, and whatnot on our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter at Pan-African Television. And all those, contributions, questions, and all of that will be well taken care of. You can as well share the Facebook live post. We are live on Facebook. We are streaming. You can as well share the live post on Facebook as many times as you can so that other people also get the opportunity to watch tonight's edition of the program. My name, once again, is Justice Appiah. Tonight on Hot News, we are still looking at the recent erratic power supply in the country, what we popularly refer to as Dum Sor. The question is Dum Sor back in this country? We have been discussing this since, Monday. Yesterday we did same, and today we are still talking about it because the situation has been worse in the country, and people are wondering if Dum Sor has returned, back in this country because of how a lot of people are affected and all of that. We joined in the studio by a member of the NDC National Communications team, Nana Bamfo. He's here with me. We'll be discussing this into detail. We are also expecting, Kwesi Kwarteng, who is a member of the New Patriotic Party communications team, to join us. Also, when he joins us in the studio, we'll let him into the discussion at least to tell us what the real situation is. My brother, you're welcome to Hot News tonight. How are you?
Thank you, Justice. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me tonight for this program. All right, so tell us. Currently, we are witnessing, erratic power supply. I mean, what we all know as Dum Sor. And the truth is that under former President John Dramani Mahama, we had witnessed, a similar situation. And there were a lot of things that were said by the, the opposition at the time. Now, a party in power. What's your take on this?
Yes, Justice. Thanks for having me. Let me say a big good evening to the people of Ewutu Senya East and the constituency chairman for the NDC, Chairman Stephen Ofosu-Ajari.
Okay, Chairman Ajari, I believe by now he's watching. Chairman,
I'm sure he's watching. We wish him well. We also wish the past NDC parliamentary candidate, Nakoya Okuno. I understand she's inaugurating her foundation very soon in days. We wish her well. May God bless her in all her endeavors.
Okay.
Now, Justice, you see, this government and the people of Ghana find themselves in a quagmire. It will be very difficult to get out of. And they have resulted from the telling of lies and the telling of a lot of untruth with a lot of courage and boldness. People say all the time that lies are a virus even to the ones who peddle them. So when you tell lies for long, eventually they will catch up with you. And when you are caught up in your lies, you have nowhere to go again. And that is what the MPP finds itself in as we speak now. You see, today they are trying to rebrand the name Dum Sor. And they say it is a special, strategic, what not, a special kind of Dum Sor. I don't know what is special.
What I know is that the current energy minister says that the Dum Sor we are witnessing or seeing under this government is not the type we saw under former President John Dramani Mahama.
So it's a special type of Dum Sor. So they are qualifying their Dum Sor, not so. They agree that there is a Dum Sor.
It may be Dum Sor, but the circumstances may be different.
I'll come there. I'll come there. When we get there, you will realize that they had better hide somewhere and hide from the shame. Because if I was to be them, or if I were them, I would keep quiet. I would shut up.
Why would you have kept quiet? Because they have to let Ghanaians know the real situation.
No, but they are not telling us the real situation. The real situation.
What makes you think so?
You see, the fact of the matter is that when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama took office, he was met with this power challenge. Mind you, it was a challenge he did not create. He just met it. Now, it was a challenge that had happened, it had reoccurred. It had happened during the PNDC era, it had happened during the Kufuor era, and then it reared its ugly head again in the Mahama era. Now, Mahama refused to play the blame game. He took responsibility for the problem and decided...
What responsibility did former President John Dramani Mahama take in terms of solving Dum Sor?
Okay, so in the Mahama era, the challenge was generation. We had shortfalls in generation due to weather problems. The Akosombo Dam.
What was the generational capacity at the time of former President John Dramani Mahama, and how many megawatts did former President John Dramani Mahama add to the national grid?
Well, I know that he added over 2,000 megawatts to the national grid, as a matter of fact. I know
added
that
how many?
Should be around 2,000.
2,000
yes.
megawatts?
Yes.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Yes. And mind you, before we go ahead, let us remind viewers that the Kufuor administration only added 80 megawatts. Okay. And that 80 megawatts, in fact, came from mining companies who came together to form a consortium of a sort. They needed power to mine. They were having power challenges. They decided to help government bring up this 80 megawatt plant to help them do their mining. So even that it is difficult to associate them totally to the Kufuor regime. Be minded also that they did some retrofitting in the Akosombo Dam, which also gave us about 200 megawatts. That retrofitting also started in the NDC era. So it has become clear that the NPP government is never interested in doing anything major in the power sector.
Now, you are saying that under former President John Dramani Mahama, the issue of Dum Sor was about generational capacity and the fact that he tried to add some megawatts to the national grid.
Yes.
The New Patriotic Party is saying that the issue of Dum Sor isn't about, generational capacity, but rather funding.
I was almost there.
Exactly.
I was going to tell you that, in fact, they rejected this truth. The NPP, with the help of the media, rejected the truth that we had generational shortfalls. Akosombo wasn't giving us power any longer.
Is it true or false that as it stands now we have excess of power?
Yes,
to an extent that we are even giving out some to neighboring countries.
It is the price to pay to get consistent power, because the machines can go off at any time, and when they go off, you need a buffer.
But if the situation at the time was about generational capacity, and you have, giving Ghanaians in excess of generational capacity, why are we still witnessing Dum Sor under this dispensation?
Exactly where I'm coming. You see, what I'm saying is that the Mahama Dum Sor was acceptable because it was a generational problem. And to build generation takes time. It takes almost 3 years to build a plant and to ship them to Ghana and all that. So if any government was facing that challenge of generation and wanted to solve it once and for all, and wanted to build the machines, or wanted to build the power plants, it would take time. So if we were experiencing Dum Sor under such a regime, it was justifiable. We tried to explain this to Ghanaians in so many ways. It wasn't that it wasn't done. The explanation was given. But the MPP led by Dr. Bawumia and Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and their cabal, ex-President Mahama rightly called them the media cabal, refused this truth, this obvious truth, and decided to go to town with that rhetoric of financial challenge. It was never a financial challenge under Mahama. Rather, it is a financial challenge under this government. That is the paradox of the situation.
So I was also about to ask you that, has this situation, the current situation we are in as a country, the power outages and all of that,
yes,
not explained the NPP's position that it wasn't about generational capacity but rather funding?
No, it has rather exposed them, because today they don't need to build generation again. And in that era, we're not complaining about transmission. We didn't say Gridco was cash trap. Today, you have refused to pay Gridco. So Gridco does not have enough money to produce power and give the power to us. Transmit the power to ECG, for ECG to distribute the power. That's the problem we are facing now. They say the lines are overloaded, so they are tripping. Why are the lines overloaded? They are overloaded because government over the years have refused to invest in that sector to maintain and to add on to them. Now, if government was going by the schedule and was maintaining the lines as it should and was building parallel lines when it should build them, we would not be in this situation today. So this situation we find ourselves in is an unjustifiable situation. It is not a situation anybody can explain away.
What makes what we witnessed under former President John Dramani Mahama justifiable?
No, but I have said,
but this one, not one that is justifiable.
Because it would take time to build the plants. We were moving from hydro, we had to build thermal plants. It would take time. So building the plants themselves take time. As for that one, Mahama in his capacity could not do anything about. If you had all the money in the world and you were building a power plant, it would take you about 2.5 years to build it.
Under former President John Dramani Mahama, were there issues of, gas supply and then probably, fuel supplies to the plants and all of that?
Yes, but
did you have money to power those plants and all of that?
You see, that's the misinformation.
Then what is the information?
The truth is that, and we all know that, that there was a problem with the West African gas pipeline. And that one was an act of God. A ship ran into the pipes, burst the pipe, so the gas could not flow into Ghana. If the gas could not flow into Ghana by reason of a ship running into a pipe, how could that be the fault of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama? That's why I'm telling you that it was with the help of a media cabal, the people who had closed their eyes to truth. Even if the truth was as clear as water, it was as white as snow, they would tell us it was as black as whatever. You see, they had decided to tell lies to get Mahama out at all costs. And they succeeded in doing that. And in fact, what is more painful is that apart from John Dramani Mahama fixing the generational challenge, he also fixed the financial problem.
How did he fix it?
He fixed it by introducing ESLA, which these people called obnoxious. They called all manner of names.
At the time you were leaving power,
yes,
how much money did ESLA generate?
In fact, at the time we were leaving power, we had not even, we as a government, Mahama's government did not generate up to I should say, you see, ESLA gives 3 billion Ghana cedis per year. That is what ESLA rakes in. Every year we get 3 billion. But Mahama himself did not even get up to 6 billion in ESLA. This government in the first 4 years raked in 12 billion. So you got 12 billion from ESLA. You got 2 additional oil fields. So we expect you to be raking in more monies. You increased ESLA by 27%. So you were getting more money from ESLA. What did you do with all that money? In fact, this government has...
But you are saying that what this government is, we are witnessing under this government is an issue of funding.
Yes.
If they have been able to generate the said amount of money you've just mentioned from ESLA,
yes,
why then do we have to have problems?
But that is an answer they should give us. It means that they are not using ESLA for what they should use it for. If they were using ESLA for what they should use it for, Gridco would not be in debt. Because you see, there's we used to have problems with people paying ECG. So they decided to do something they call the windfall. So they decided that once they get the tariffs, they distribute them into where everybody must. So today, government is unable to hold monies from ECG or from Gridco again. Because of the windfall system, once the monies come, it is distributed right away into the accounts. People get their monies. But with the ESLA, that is tax accrued and collected by government. And government must release it to pay these power producers, pay Gridco, and pay the distributors.
But before you left power,
yes,
you were owing the, the independent power producers, true or false?
Before we left power?
Yeah.
No, but that's why we brought ESLA. So we're paying it bit by bit. You see, as for the power sector...
How much did you pay to the independent power producers before leaving power?
No, but you see, mind you, before we left power, most of the independent power producers had not started work.
Most of them did not start work at the time.
No, yes,
the
because...
truth is that there were some independent power producers during your tenure.
Yes.
How much did you pay to them?
I do not have the figures now. I cannot tell you exactly how much we paid to them. But at least they were working. When we left power when we had solved Dum Sor.
But the New Patriotic Party, I asked you that question because the New Patriotic Party is saying that they have offset some of the debt you left in terms of, monies the country owe, independent power producers, and have negotiated further to make sure that they continue to supply, the country with those.
No, you see, but the problem we are talking about today is not the generation problem. As for the generation problem, I have sought to make you understand that Mahama fixed it.
We're talking about funding.
No, you see, we are talking about funding, but we are talking about funding in the transmission side of the electricity mix. You see, let's not get it twisted. We have the generation side, we have the transmission side, and we have the distribution sector, all in the mix. So today, the problem we have is with Gridco. That is with the transmission side. They are supposed to transmit power to ECG for ECG to distribute power. Now, because their lines are heavy and they have not been able to maintain the lines and build new ones, the lines are choked and are tripping by the day. That's the problem we're having now. And we are saying that if government was paying ESLA and was paying it on time, Gridco would have money to do the what do you call it? To do the maintenance. Because you are starving Gridco of money, they are unable to do the maintenance. And if you starve them of money, what do you expect? To add to that, you remember.
How did you get that information? Because are you aware that both Gridco and Electricity Company of Ghana have issued separate statements on the current situation in terms of power supply?
No, is it are they saying they have money? We know, like, if you
did they tell you they don't have money?
Oh no, that comes from the past Auditor General's report.
Okay.
The Auditor General tells us
what did the report
plain and white. In fact, the report tells us that Gridco is in debt of about 600 million, if I am right. And in fact, when you go to Gridco, most of the state institutions they supply power to, all Gridco, they are not paying Gridco. Quite apart from that, I was going to tell you about the tariffs. Okay. You see, this government, when it came into power, instead of putting the people first, always put their retaining power first. You see, I always tell people that there must be a nexus between electoral fortunes and your performance in power. But these conmen, I call them so, because they tried to bypass that laid down principle of doing well and staying in power. They decided that, well, we don't care about doing well. We can decide not to do well, but we must stay in power. So we must hoodwink the people into believing that we are the best thing that ever happened to them. We must win the propaganda war at all costs. If it will mean us going down in the next 4 years, by then we would have won power. So it would not be meaningful again. So they decided to tell us that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was a wicked president. His tariffs were too expensive. They reduced tariffs. They forgot that reduction of tariff does not mean or does not result in the reduction of the cost of the production of the power. So when you come and you give subsidies and you pretend to be the best government or the best thing to have ever happened to Ghana, what we expect you to do as a responsible government is to find monies elsewhere and pay up the subsidies. Because hey, you have reduced the payment, you have reduced the tariffs for the people. They are not paying today. But as for Gridco, their cost of production will remain the same. As for the IPPs, their cost of production will remain the same. And they will expect their monies to remain in business. But this government decided to announce a subsidy. In fact, it did not even allow PURC to do it. They announced it themselves, took all the glory for it, took all the shine. They gave Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia all kinds of accolades because they gave us subsidies. Unknowingly to us, they were not paying the subsidies. Now what is happening today is clear. It is clear that they decided not to pay, and that at a later date, they will call on the same people who gave them the praise and ask them to come and pay for the subsidy they had enjoyed earlier on. What is painful is that, you see, when you have enjoyed subsidy for that long and you have not been paying, you have not planned your life to pay increment in tariffs. Quite apart from that, you must know that when debts accrue, they accrue with interest. So for all these years that we were not paying the tariffs we should pay, and we were expecting that, or we expected that government, or we were of the opinion or had been misled to believe that government was paying, it was accruing interest. And so the situation now is dire. We are in huge debt. Government does not have the fiscal space any longer. They don't have money. In spite of the 1 billion they took from the IMF to fight COVID. 1 billion, they gave us electricity for 3 months. The $1 billion, they took 20 billion from the Bank of Ghana when they requested to take 10 billion, but they took 20 billion. Apart from that, they took money from the stabilization fund, they took money from the sinking fund, they took monies from oil. You know that because of John Dramani Mahama, our ports have been, the size of the Tema port has been tripled. All these assets are available to them. So these people are people who have been, they have been lucky to have resources and cash. So we don't expect to be in this mess. That is why I am ashamed. And I know that a lot of people who supported His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, and who listened to their glorified lies and believed in them so much, are so ashamed and disappointed with them. They are unable to come out to speak. And let me tell you, as for me, I am not surprised, because they spoke or told the lies in opposition. They got the help of the cabal I have talked about, got into government. Instead of performing in government to remain in government, they decided to take the other way around, lie again to the people, win the propaganda.
What are the lies they told?
Sorry, sir.
What are the lies they told?
In opposition, for instance, when we were fighting generation, when we were building machines, they told us it was financial problem. You see, in the case of Excellency John Dramani Mahama was faced between two options. Now, one was to go to Akosombo Dam, get all the pastors in Ghana, go and pray for some rains to come, because that was the solution the MPP government took under Kufuor. And that is Excellency John Ajekum Kufuor. When the Volta lake was down and we were having problems with power, the only solution that could come to his mind was to take pastors there to go and pray. But John Dramani Mahama decided to do the opposite. He decided to use the brains God has given us to build plants that would solve the problem forever. While we were building those plants, they fed the people with lies. They told the people of Ghana that John Dramani Mahama was incompetent, and that John Dramani Mahama had squandered all Ghana's money. We didn't have money again for power, when in fact he was building these thermal plants. Have you forgotten so soon that they told us that Ameri was overpriced, and that we had inflated Ameri by so much millions? In fact, it was a rhetoric, it was a campaign rhetoric, a normal language they would speak at every campaign launch and at every campaign setting. It came from the mouth of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, His Excellency. It came from the mouth of Dr. Bawumia. They said it on a repeated basis. In fact, when they came into power,
what specifically did they say?
Oh, they said that John Dramani Mahama had inflated the Ameri deal, and that the Ameri deal was a rip-off to the Ghanaian, and that we were insensitive. When it came to corruption, Ameri was a major talking point. It had become like a low-hanging fruit for them. And in fact, when they came into power, what did they do with Ameri? We all know, it is not state secret, we all know. But they inflated it by $800 million. But for the vigilance of our people in the opposition, they have ripped Ghanaians off by $800 million.
All right. Once you are laying the blame on the doorsteps of government, I mean, currently, for the Dum Sor we are witnessing, these are the statements, issued by both ECG and Gridco.
Yeah.
On March 3, Gridco said the closure of an emergency valve at the West Africa Gas Pipeline Company, WAPCO, was to be blamed for power cuts in parts of Ghana that day. According to the company, the action ended up curtailing gas supply to some generating plants in the country. March 7, a challenge in Gridco's power system led to a total system shutdown and total power outage nationwide. This led to an interruption in power supply to all parts of the country. On March 8, the total power system shutdown that was experienced that day was due to a technical fault on one of the major transmission lines between Prestea and Obuasi, according to Gridco. In line with the challenges, the Ghana Highway Authority announced that section of the End 1, End 2, and End 4 highways will experience some minimum to maximum disruption to traffic flow to enable Gridco to undertake the stringing of transmission line conductors across the N1, N2, and N4. On March 16, the day before, there was a power cut in parts of the national capital, Accra. ECG, however, blamed the outage on a technical challenge from Gridco. In a communique, ECG explained that the outage being experienced in parts of Accra and other ECG operational areas is due to a technical challenge from Gridco. On March 17, the power supply to parts of the Volta region was interrupted for 5 days due to Gridco's extensive maintenance works in the area. Parts of Hohwe, parts of Ho, Sigankope, Akachi, Pando, and Chito were among the affected areas. March 24, the power transmission company indicated that a technical fault upstream was responsible for the outage experienced in parts of Accra, Accra East, Winneba, Techiman, and Sunyani. In a statement, Gridco said the power outage was reported by the Ghana Gas Company, which said there was a compressor fault upstream, leading to the loss of 750 megawatts of power at about 1 a.m. April 4, this was the latest of the power cuts. Gridco attributed it to a technical problem. The company explained that its conductor on the Tema-Accra East transmission line fell at Tosako, hence the outage. So this is believed to be a trend that continues with those institutions or companies that are responsible for power in this country, and they have explained all the the situations that have led to the power outages we have experienced. Are you saying that Gridco is not telling Ghanaians the truth?
So there is a new trend. The new trend is that today it is the technocrats that must talk. Today we won't hear from government again. When it was about the reduction of tariffs, that one, it was essentially Nanado Danko Kufuor who was announcing them. But when he has to give explanations for the intermittent power cuts, popularly known as Dum Sor, it has now become the work of technocrats. They are running away and they are pushing the technocrats to do the dirty work. Justice, the truth of the matter is that...
but one thing you need to know or to understand is that Gridco has assured the good people of Ghana that those power cuts we've had so far cannot be, explained to be Dum Sor, and that it is impossible for that to be equated to Dum Sor, and that we are not experiencing Dum Sor in the country. I hope you have heard that.
But that is unacceptable, Justice. What is Dum Sor?
If you have heard that, so it says amid fears that Ghana may return to the days of load shedding, Gridco assured that it has adequate generation capacity to meet demand in the country. First was the open letter written by its Chief Executive Officer, Jonathan Amakoba, which said Dum Sor was not back and that it was impossible for such erratic power cuts to return.
Listen, Justice, this Mr. Mwakumba you talk about appeared before the Parliamentary Select Committee.
And what did he say?
And he told them that if government refused to pay the subsidies, we were likely to run into Dum Sor. This same man. So how can he be speaking from the two sides of his mouth? And what must we believe? You see, we can also do the analysis and read between the lines.
Okay.
We know that Greco is in debt. We know that the energy sector is in debt. In fact, this PDS matter that was supposed to bring us this $500 million, we also lost. So the energy sector itself is starving of money. Quite apart from that, we know that ESLA, which is supposed to pay energy sector debt, has been mortgaged. Don't forget that. So today, as we speak, very soon, when receivables get into the ESLA account, most of it are going to service the debt of the loan we have gone to take. So we are in a very dire situation. It is not a nice situation at all, but it is a situation where people must arise and ask the relevant questions. Government has no business. I repeat, the government of Ghana under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia has no business to send Ghana back into the days of Dum Sor just for 2 days. They don't. They don't, because if you take the financial sector, we fixed it. Even when there are challenges, as explained. No, but we have said over and over again that if you are building pyro lines, they must not result in Dum Sor. It must not result in your taking the powers off. You see, when you are building pyro lines, they are pyro. It has nothing to do with the main powers. You only. But I'm not sure that was the explanation given by. Oh, but Greco has given that. In fact, that was the first explanation Greco gave. That they were building a plant at Kaswa, and they were building 1, 2 at. I think it has eluded me, but I think 1, 2 at. Should be in the western region or so, but it has eluded. But they are building one at Kaswa, and they gave us the excuse that because of those developments, there were going to be power cuts, and that those power cuts will be there until September. They told us they have gone to tell the people of Kumasi that they should expect power cuts to end by September. So if they are telling the people of Kumasi to expect power cuts to end by September, how then do they come here and issue these afterthoughts? These are afterthoughts. They are just trying to explain the problems away. But you see, that is the problem with the MPP government. And that is why I have issues with them. When there are problems, a government must face the problem head on. Take responsibility for the problem. Kindly hold on. You'll come back to that thought. Viewers, you are still watching Hot News right here on Pan-African Television with me, Justice Apia. We are expecting Nana Kwatin, that's Kwesi Kwatin of the New Patriotic Party, to join us in the studio. As and when he joins us, he'll be part of the discussion. But you can send in your messages to our WhatsApp to text line on 0544 235984, 0544 235984, 0544 235984. We'll be opening the phone lines very soon. Wherever you live in this country, call us and tell us the current situation of Dum Sor in the country, in your area. How has the situation been? Has it been every day, or it has been once a while? The phone lines, I'll plead that my director and my producer, put it on the screen for our viewers to call in that regard. So the phone lines are opened. The phone lines are opened. You can call us and tell us where you live and the current situation in terms of Dum Sor in your area. You can go ahead, Nana. Yes, so the Auditor General, as I'm seeing, told us that Greco is owed a debt of over 230 million Ghana cedis. But Greco had not said, or has not said, that this debt owed them is affecting their operations. Okay, but Justice, I have told you two things. They don't need to tell us. We know. How do you know? But we know that Greco is running. No. We know that they will be running on their balance sheets. And we understand the debt analysis. We understand the debt mix. If you are in debt, if Greco itself is in debt to the tune of 600 million Ghana cedis, how is it running? It is running on a deficit. It is running on a deficit. And if it is running on a deficit, it will by all means come to a halt one day. And that is what we are seeing now, because it will get to a time your suppliers will refuse to supply you. Because you are not making up your obligations. If you refuse to make up your obligations for some time. Please, I'm coming. The viewers are calling the WhatsApp line. Unfortunately, we cannot answer calls on the tablet. I'll plead that my director and the producer open the phone lines so they can call. Unfortunately, we can't open the phone lines. We cannot answer calls on the tablet. You can go ahead, Nana. If the Greco boss is as bold as he's trying to be, any government is as bold as they are trying to be, let them tell us the quantum of monies that Gridco has suffered because of this subsidy. Let them calculate, quantify the subsidy and tell us, and you will be shocked how much money Gridco should have accrued that has not been paid. And if you are starving them of that money, how do you expect them to run? So I don't need the boss of Gridco to come and tell me that they have money, or I don't need releases from Gridco to tell me they are in debt or not. When we take their balance sheet and we take what the Auditor General is telling us, and we know that government has refused to come good on their promise to pay the subsidies, and the government was just playing a fine boy with the declaration of that subsidies. When we bring all those variables together, we add 1 to 1, 2 to 3, it is clear that Gridco is cash strapped. Gridco is in debt, and the whole power sector, it is not just Gridco, that's the problem. The whole power sector is in dire need of cash. And yet we left them ESLA. And yet we left them two oil fields. And yet they increased ESLA by 27%, in fact. And yet when they came, they told us they were going to scrap ESLA. They came and extended the sunset clause. You see, we don't have a problem. We realize that you got it wrong. You admit that you got it wrong. You were just making noise for power. So when you came, you realized that what the NDC did in instituting ESLA was very important for the power sector to run. So you decided to increase it. You say, okay, cool. We like it when we teach you, because we want Ghana to progress. So if we teach you and you decide to learn, all the good. But you take ESLA and you refuse to make good your obligations to the energy sector. You don't pay them. You are using ESLA to pay for oil deliveries to your family members. You are using ESLA to pay for other things. And if you do that, we will run into this problem. And that's why we have this problem today. So government cannot run away from the blame. We put all the blame at the doorstep of government. Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia must learn from His Excellency John Dramani Mahama for us. They must take responsibility.
Now let me tell viewers that the phone lines opened, or the phone line is open. It is displayed on your screen, so you can call and tell us the current situation when it comes to Dum Sor in your area. Tell us the current situation when it comes to Dum Sor in your area, wherever you are, kindly call us.
So we expect government to take responsibility, and try to fix this transmission problem once and for all, as Excellency John Dramani Mahama also fixed the generation problem once and for all. In fact, if they were coming good on their maintenance schedules, we would not be where we are today. But because they refused to give them money, they also didn't have money to invest in the sector. Let them come good on their payments. If we have to be in Dum Sor for a specific time, they must be forthright with the people. Tell the people the truth. You see, the people are reasonable. When you tell them the truth, sometimes they, and in fact, most of the time, Ghanaians understand and they will bear with you. But when you come and you decide to swindle us with lies, decide to tell us all manner of lies, bring up all manner of excuses to make up for the darkness, people are sleeping in heat. It is affecting businesses.
Now we have a caller. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining Hot News this evening. Your name and where you're calling from? Nicholas, what's the Dum Sor situation in your area?
My name is Nicholas, calling from Popano.
Go ahead. What's the situation when it comes to Dum Sor in your area?
Oh my brother, every day we are getting light off.
Okay.
Every day, I don't hospital where the platform or area. The problem is that it's better and solve the problem. Because during the election, they were all money, share of this is important to people.
And you said, where have you called from?
Just the money like that. When the election is very money like that, they should do that.
All right, thank you so much. I think the message is well taken. Thank you so much for calling us. Let me take a few of our messages here. We have a lot of messages here. This one says, good evening, my brother. MPP government has failed us big time. You didn't add your name, but thank you so much for your message. This one says, I'm Kojo Jemfi from Breman Amanfopong. Good evening, Justice. In fact, Comrade Nana Bamfo has made my night. He's digesting issues for the ordinary Ghanaian to understand. Kudos to him. We have a caller. Good evening. Your name and where you're calling from? Your name and where you're calling from? Hello? Your line is muffled. If you can position yourself well, I'll be fine. Hello? Unfortunately, we've lost that caller. Dum Sor is here with us, and MPP should do the needful by giving us the timetable. Justice, the earlier President Akufo-Addo's MPP stop complaining and show leadership, the better for all of us. President Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia's government should respect us and stop the rhetorics. Thank you so much, Kojo, for your message. This one says, I am Al-Hassan from Bolga. We, the people of Bolga, have been experiencing Dum Sor day in, day out. Thank you so much for your message.
Okay.
Your name and where you're calling from? Good evening. Your name and where you're calling from?
I'm calling from Tamale.
Tamale. What's the Dum Sor situation in Tamale?
I'm calling from Tamale.
Tell us, what's the situation in Tamale?
Oh, Tamale is west of. Tamale is. I'm a barber. Yes, I'm a barber today. I didn't even work. The whole of today, lights off.
Okay. Is it just today? Is it just about today? Or, I mean, some other days too?
No, every day. Today is west off.
Okay, so every day, just as today is west.
Today is west off.
Which side of Tamale are you calling us from?
I'm calling you a suburb of around Kamina Barracks, who are fighting junction.
All right, thank you so much for speaking to us. We are so grateful for your time. I mean, the phone line is still opened. You can still call us from wherever across the country to tell us the situation when it comes to Dum Sor in the country. Hi, this is Usman Sampana. Tell the NDC guy he's doing well. Call me when you're done. All right, thank you so much for your message. This one says, Nana, kudos from Frederick Adasu. Frederick, thank you so much for your message. Good evening. Your name and where you're calling from?
Yeah, my name is Ahmad. I'm calling in Nima 441.
You're calling from where?
I'm calling in Nima 441.
Nima 441. What's the situation of Dum Sor in Nima?
Oh, no problem in Nima. Because last time we had a night off.
Okay. How long was the light out?
Oh, in Nima, it was last time we had a night off, but this time we didn't get the light.
Okay.
But the problem, we have to blame Nanado and Bawumia. The way they tell lies about Mama for the last 8 years, for the past 8 years, about the power. So they have to take the responsibility.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for your submission. We are so grateful for your time. Ajambore Baba in Wiamoase says, Sodom has come to stay in Ghana, but President Akufo-Addo and his MPP have denied it. It is West under President Akufo-Addo. Hashtag Mahama Beba. Thank you so much for your message. You're saying what's up? Yeah, what's up to you too. This one says, good evening. Your name and where you're calling from?
I'm calling from Abeka.
Abeka. What's the situation of Dum Sor in Abeka?
I'm calling from there's no light.
As we speak, there's no light.
There's no light. They just give the light now. The light.
Oh, really? What time did they take the light?
Oh, just 20 minutes now.
20 minutes now. Oh, sorry for you. Sorry for you. So how are you watching the program?
I think they just put it on 20 minutes now.
Oh, it just came 20 minutes on. 20 minutes ago. Oh, okay. All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Thank you so much for telling us the situation at Abeka. You can keep your calls coming in. We want to know from wherever in this country what the situation is like when it comes to Dum Sor. As you know, some other persons are saying Sodom. Now they are not saying, they are saying that it's no more Dum Sor, but Dum Sor. Okay. Anyway, this one says, was MPP able to scrap the ESLA as they promised when they were in opposition? No. And what? Good evening. Your name and where you're calling from? Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Carl.
From where? Labadi?
From Boku.
From Boko. Okay, all right. Tell us, what's the situation of Dum Sor in Boko?
Boku.
So what's the situation of Dum Sor in Boko?
Dum Sor is too much. The last one take it 3 times.
3 times a day?
3 times this evening. Yeah, right now. We make that of 3 times.
Oh, wow.
You see?
Is it just today? Is it just about today or every day?
Every Boku.
All right.
Every day we do that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Every day. Level price, not even more price.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us. We're so grateful. We've really gotten the message. I mean, let's take some few more calls and then come back for us to wrap up. I think we need to know the situation as it is currently. They diverted the funds for other purposes. Mr. Pratt described Dum Sor as off and on Metro TV today to silence the lies. Stephen in Kwabenya sent in that one. This one says, I'm Lord Kenya from Pantine. The Dum Sor is real here. Very, very real. Oh, sorry for you, my brother, in Pantine. Good evening. Your name and where you're calling from?
I'm calling from Nima.
Oh, Nima. What's the situation in Nima?
Hello?
What is the Dum Sor situation in Nima?
My name is General Olabode Williams. I'm calling from Nima.
Okay, so tell us, have you also been experiencing Dum Sor in Nima?
West. The light goes off and then comes on. And actually, I want to use this opportunity to thank the gentleman in your studio.
Okay.
He's speaking the truth.
Nana Bamfo.
And this is where I want to commend his ex-John Dramani Mahama. In fact, John Dramani Mahama have fixed Dum Sor before he left power. Today, we are experiencing West and Nana Akufo-Addo. This is where I want to say that President Nana Akufo-Addo, in Chile, they say,
All right.
Akufo-Addo is the worst president we've ever had in this country.
All right, thank you so much for your time, Mr.
President John Dramani Mahama should be commended for the good work he has done. Wherever John Mahama is, the good people of Lima, we say you have already done it. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for your message. Hello, Justice. Justice, speaking now from Tamale. We don't have light. I'm watching it on Facebook since the day before yesterday. We have no light. So tell them that people are suffering here in Tamale. The lights keep going on and off. So what was he telling us, Justice? At least they should give us a break. We are tired of this NPP people, in fact, from Kupaya in Tamale. Well, that is what somebody has sent. Good evening, Justice. I'm in Ashanti Mampong, and I can tell you that we are experiencing an upgraded version of Dum Sor. I'm disappointed in this government, especially the economic messiah, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, Vice President of the Republic of Ghana. Eric from Mampong, Ashanti. Do we have a caller? All right. We don't have a caller yet. Good evening. I'm Randolph Ofori Gabriel from Brekum. Dum Sor is real here. There is no doubt about it. Oh, wow. So, I mean, it means that it's across the country because the calls are coming from Boko, Wa, Tamale, and all of that. Here, some of the messages are cry and oh, wow. Good evening, Justice. Please allow the guy to flow. He is building a nice argument to justify the power crisis under JM's regime, but you kept interjecting him. Dum Sor under JM was a generational problem. He solved it by providing excess power. D from Akachi North. D. Good evening. Your name and where you're calling us from? Alhaji Al Hassan, tell us, what's the situation of Dum Sor in Tamale?
And the third is that just to find that money. And we don't have that.
All right, okay. Thank you so much for your call. I mean, he is also talking about water and light. So they are facing a double problem. Whilst they are not having light, I mean, they are as well not having water. Now, wow. Private message. Okay, all right. That's okay. Koshi, I have seen the message and I'll do the needful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. This one says, good evening, Justice. God will punish those who said we are not in Dum Sor. Hey, inshallah. Anyway, let's take some few calls, like 2 or 3, and then we wrap up on the show. Now, Nana, you were making a point before I had to, pick a call from.
Justice. So, in fact, I just have some recommendations for government.
What recommendations do you have?
Number 1, they must learn to take responsibility. When you are voted into leadership, you must take responsibility. That is what you are paid to do.
Okay.
So they must eschew the blame game. Because blaming John Dramani Mahama for every problem will not fix the Dum Sor problem. Blaming COVID for every problem will not fix the Dum Sor problem. But taking responsibility and deciding to fix the problems no matter what the challenges are is what leadership is about.
Okay.
So forget about blaming people and fix the problem. I also have a message for them.
Okay.
That in 2024, I am convinced beyond doubt that the nexus between performance and electoral fortunes will be established. You see, this time around, it will not be through the barrel of the gun again. You won't get people seizing constituencies with guns. You won't get people intimidating people and causing people to run away from voting and all that. You won't get an easy chair to go to a Supreme Court and decide not to tell us how she got her numbers and how she changed her numbers and all that. No.
Okay.
This time around, it will be based on performance. So they should sit down and work. We know, we don't expect much from them.
Okay.
But if they cannot improve the country, they shouldn't send it down into the abyss for us. So that when we come, we can take the country off for what we are known for. Because the MPP government
what are you known for?
We are known for development. We are known for prosperity.
And MPP want to say that you are known for managing the country to Dum Sor for more than 3 years.
No, but we are known for facing problems which are not our creations and fixing them once and for all. So today the MPP does not have a problem.
Are you saying that the Dum Sor today is a creation of the New Patriotic Party?
Exactly. If they were paying ESLA, they were using ESLA for what it must be used for, they would have money to maintain the lines. They would have money to do the investments. We will not be faced with problems where the investments are late and machines have to shut down because they are under pressure. Have you ever heard? You see, in Ghana, anytime they have been doing so, it has been because of generational problems. You see, this is the first time we are hearing that because of transmission problems, we are going to have major power cuts like that. It has not happened in Ghana. That's why I'm saying that government is complicit. It is clear that government has failed the people of Ghana.
Who is allowed to do maintenance work? Are they not allowed to?
They are. But how do you...
they are allowed to do maintenance work, then that would definitely affect probably, the lights and all of that.
Not in this manner.
If we are having a maintenance work done by Gridco, and for that reason we are witnessing Dum Sor, how on earth would anybody blame that on government?
You see, I am not the chief executive of Gridco.
But that is what Gridco has been saying.
So I'm making a point. I'm not a chief executive of Gridco.
Okay.
When he went before the Parliament Select Committee on Energy and went to speak, I wasn't there with him.
Okay.
Nobody put a gun to his head. He went there and spoke to them and told them that if government didn't find monies to pay for the subsidies, we were going to go into Dum Sor. And today government has not paid. We are in Dum Sor. Where should I look to? And who should I blame? It is clear. And when you pick their books, as we have said, it is clear that they are in debt. They are in dire need of cash. So if they don't have cash, how the finance people will call it operating capital or something like that. If they don't have that capital, how are they going to operate the system? How is it going to be a going concern?
Okay.
You see, so government should understand that this time around, if they don't perform, they'll be booted out. But in fact, we don't expect them to do any magic. But they shouldn't destroy the country further. They shouldn't push the country down the abyss, so that when we come, it becomes a tough problem for us. Because as for you, one MPP, how many hospitals, when they went for the vet, didn't you hear? How many district hospitals have you built? He said, we built shape compounds. How many schools have you built? Budin. How many universities have you built? Trouble. How many roads have you built? Look at that. Everything there is a problem. And if you are not doing all these things, what are you doing with our money? You have not built roads with our money. You have not built hospitals with our money. You have not built universities with our money. Meanwhile, you are unable to pay Gridco for Gridco to also give us consistent light. So, what did you do with our money in the last 4 years? On exorbitant trips around the world.
I've just been prompted that our time's up, so let's be wrapping up.
Sure. So
in a minute, can you wrap up?
So as I say, government should take responsibility. At least they should give the people who voted for them some respite, because people are ashamed. People are hiding in their rooms. They are unable to come out. Please, government, do something so that your supporters can begin to speak a little. As for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, God bless him for anywhere he is. His vision is clear and it's there for everybody to see. He solved the problem once and for all. We need him back in 2024 to solve more problems once and for all.
All right, thank you so much, Nana, for your submission. Let me take this, 2 more messages and we go. Good evening, Pan-African TV. Where is Afenyo Markin, who classified this problem during Mahama's time as a doom? Thanks. Yaba from Pig Farm. Yaba from Pig Farm. Yaba from Pig Farm. Yaba from Ghana. Wow. Good evening, Jay. In my area, Swami Magazine, every day when it is exactly 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. we experience Dum Sor till 6. Is it 6 a.m. or 6 p.m.? Why this misfortune? Mojo in Kumasi sent in that one. 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 You can talk and talk when the reality catch up with you. Fix it. Okay. Thank you so much. Adasu is your name. Now, I cannot take any of the messages. I cannot take any of your calls. And, of course, we have to bring the program to an end. My name, once again, is Just Appear. Many thanks to my cameraman, Foster Opele. Foster. Thank you so much for being in the studio for us. Foster Opele. Foster. And also to my producer, Latifa Adams. Latifa, thank you so much. And also to my director, Sewa, my sound men, Sir Chess and Titi, and everyone who has been part of today's production. Thank you all so much for always being there to make sure that hot news is aired. My name once again is Justice Apia. Good evening to Chairman Ejare, Utu Senya East Constituency Chairman of the National Democratic Congress. And also to my brother, Sami Uku, the national organizer of the New Patriotic Party. I salute you this evening, brother. Make a time with us same time tomorrow. Goodbye.